Hello, good morning. This is the Good Morning Education Show. My name is Rotimi Eitayo, and we are live, and we're excited that you are live with us. Please do let us know where you're streaming from and your location. Send in your comments along the line as we have conversations. Please do not hesitate to ask questions as well. And today is going to be a great day. We're going to be having an interesting topic, and I'm sure that you would love to be a part of it. So just stay tuned as we connect with you. And let me just use this opportunity to bring up our guests and our analysts in the building. Thank you very much. And I'm going to start with KK. KK, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. It's good to be back here. It's good to see everyone.
Good to be back in the studios.
Yeah.
And of course, Dr. Prophet Jude, good morning. How are you today?
Morning, Internet.
Hi, Safety
Safety
Chick.
Chick, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning to Good Morning Education Show analysts, and good morning to all our viewers across the world.
Yeah, welcome to the club. Safety Chick, welcome to the club.
Yes, today I'm with you.
Which type of club is that one? Unseen
I need to
club.
cross. I need to cross
Behind
my
the
The
scenes
club,
club.
the club of the unseen.
Behind the scenes club. BTS. Let's make it funky.
Yeah, BTS.
And we have Titi in the
Yay!
building.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. I'm joining
Hi,
the Behind the Scenes Club.
Oh my
No, I
God.
have to join you guys in that case. Mr.
Our,
Rotimi,
our
we're
membership, our membership increasing.
Rotimi, that's why you have to cure the virus that started it. You have to cure it. If you don't cure it, it's going to spread.
Okay, dude, I hope you know what that implies.
The virus is incurable.
Jude, you are the virus. So we have to cure you. We brought shirt, you did not get cured. We brought mug, you did not get cured. We brought book, you did not get cured. I think I know what to cure you.
I need some dollar bills. I need some dollar
Dollar
bills.
fire. Okay, so let's just have an advert and then we'll come back. We'll read out the headlines. We're going to discuss the headlines and then we'll have conversation straight on the show. Welcome back and welcome back to the show. And it's been a great time. We had a fantastic week. I don't know if KK wants to share our experience on the field. And then we'll just take one headline and straight to the conversation of the day. KK?
Okay. So it's been really interesting being on the field, to be honest. Being at the forefront of the public sector space in terms of school leadership. Like I said, it was just interesting. Seeing things from a very different perspective, right? A lot of times we hear of what is going on in the public sector, but when you're actually in there and you're relating with the people who are on the front line, it seems a lot, and it helps you understand, in a sense, the decay that we need to cut out. And when I think somebody on the show, I think it was TT, that said, you know what? Yes, the government should be the one spearheading some of these initiatives, but for a lot of times, it is the private sector that actually pushes forward, and then the public sector catches up. It became so clear to me why we had to do that. I mean, they're so willing to learn, but there's so many mindsets that are deeply entrenched based on years and years of inefficiencies and just failed promises that you wonder how they actually still love doing the job that they love. But it was great being in that environment and just stimulating people to good works and just talking them through some of these limiting beliefs and how they could break it. So yeah, it was a very, very good experience being on the field.
Fantastic. Um, Ugochi,
Yes, sir.
you want to share something about that?
Okay, so it was really good, being out there and hearing their own perspectives and hearing what they are up against. I saw both sides of it. I had schools who were in dire straits, as it were, and then I also had school leaders who actually had everything. They are well catered for. And it made me see that even though we are worried about the public schools, like it's almost a lost cause, it's not that bad as we think in some places. Some places have it really good, they have the resources, they have infrastructure, and then we have the others who are not doing so well, who need help, most especially the Korodu axis of things, you know. But being in that space, I could also see that they were willing to learn. Just like what Mrs. Ajayi said, they are willing to learn. But again, because access to that information is not there, they do not have enough resource. They are just making do with what they have. So I really love it, and I hope that these kinds of things get to happen more, and that more teachers, more school leaders in the public sector get to be exposed to things like this. They raise a lot of concerns, which I'm not certain I'm supposed to talk about right here. I've sent that to you as feedback, but they need all the assistance we can get. Individuals, CSOs, private
Thank
sector
you.
that have public schools in their environment should look out to see how they can assist them.
Fantastic, fantastic. And then we need to welcome Rhoda into the show today. Rhoda, you're welcome.
Good morning. How's everyone doing?
Very
Good
well.
morning, Rhoda. Good morning,
I'm
Rhoda.
fine. Good morning.
Great, great. Who's on the field?
Nobody's on the field today.
Okay,
Oh, the
I'm on the.
field. Oh, you're on the field today.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about it. Tell us about it. Tell us about
Well, it's field work now. Working out for teachers. The teacher plan. So that's what it's about. The teachers
Yeah.
network.
it. I like that. Okay, so let's just head over to the conversation of the day, right? And let me say hello to Oluwadamilola Afiz Ali. He's already online. Welcome to the show. And also Ugochi Okore, creative educator. Welcome to the show all the way from Port Harcourt. Thank you for joining. Okay, so we're talking about the Teachers Network, and I'm interested in the conversation of today because we're going to look at it from different angles, right? And is it coincidental that we have the convener or the founder of the Teachers Network Facebook group as an analyst today? So, Rhoda will be hitting you from side to side today on this
Ah,
matter.
please. There's KK. There's PT. There's Jude. There's Gotti. So please. Safety, please.
Rhoda, come on, don't be afraid.
Rhoda,
Be
you have to
strong
carry
to
this.
go.
You have to
You know
carry
you
this your
can do it.
mantle.
You've got the power. Do it. Make us proud. Rhoda.
It is your mantle to carry.
It
But
is
you know,
our
I just want us to just set the perspective in motion. A lot of people need to understand why we're discussing this topic today. What do we really mean when we say teachers or the teachers network? And I want us to spend time to help people better understand what exactly do we mean by the teachers network? What are the advantages in building consciously, deliberately a vibrant network? Can network actually work against one? Can it amplify people? What are the functional ways to identify easy steps, and how can we avoid just the power of clusters alone? You know, a lot of people just like that segregation and cluster. How do we help people understand that your profession is limited by the kind of network that you find yourself in or are attracted to? So that's really an overview of what we're having today. And I believe that it's going to be a great time with everyone on that. So I'm going to start, of course, with that same question. What do we mean by the Teachers Network? And I'd like Rhoda to start with that. And then I'll move to KK. I'll go to Gochi. I'll come back to Jude. Then I'll end with Titi.
Okay, Rotimi, this is not nice though, but I will take, I guess, backstory to why even I started I named the network the Teachers Network. It's not as if it's own to. I don't think I'm the first to name something around the Teachers Network, but and thankfully it's coincidental that that's our topic today. But I was thinking more of the general meaning of a network, right? And I just looked at it more of like, for me, what a network is basically a combination of human contact, and with that combination comes a lot of interaction and a lot of support. And so the two key words for me was interaction and support. And in between those two key words, the feedback cycle and a communication pattern that is helpful in equipping people to do better, to know better, and to deliver better. So for me, it was those two things. A network is all about the interactions and the support, and hopefully a healthy feedback mechanism or cycle that encourages people to do better at their craft. So that's what I'll call it. And so that's the Teachers Network, a network of teachers who come together to have conversations, to interact, to provide support for each other, to give examples, to give some kind of feedback, and to help us to be better at our craft.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. So I like the way you were able to make us understand that first, there's need for a convergence, there's need for a pool. We can't be in isolation. And one of the interesting things we discovered in working on the field, beyond any form of reward, was that convergence of professional connection, that kind of thing, and which is so fantastic. I like us to dwell on that. So KK, over to you. Then we go to Safety Chick and then Jude. KK.
So yeah, just following from what Rhoda said, the purpose of a network, any network really, is to create connections, and these connections need to be purposeful, intentional, meaningful. So before anybody even decides to join a network or to start a network, they must have a foundational basis for it. There needs to be a reason why they believe a network of different professionals at this time is relevant, and they need to define those those founding principles for the network, and everybody coming into that network needs to understand it. And another thing is, when you talk about the Teachers Network, for me, the first thing that comes to my head is a professional learning environment. So those of us here, beyond just learning to better our craft, we should better ourselves as people. There was one time I heard Rhoda speaking, and she said the very first time she took a job, I think it was one of the first jobs she had, I can't remember. Rhoda is here, so she can correct me. And she said something that while she was there was a lot of cliques and networks and all sorts going on in the school. But for her, she just said, you know what? I came here to be great. So I don't even care about what you people are doing. Everything I do, all the connections, all the relationships I'm going to make is just going to further my being great. I want to be so relevant in this place that whatever happens, if people need to call me for something, they're calling me for good, not for gossip or for not doing my job. So for her, that was the purpose for her network within the school environment. And people soon came to understand that when it had to do with gossip or things that didn't further the purpose of learning or of the school in general, then they didn't come to Rhoda because she was not going to contribute. If at all, she would steer you away from that, really destructive path. And that for me is the purpose of networks. But sometimes we get into these places, especially when you go on to networks on Facebook. My goodness, it's such a toxic environment. It kind of, it's not all of them, of course, but some of them, and you're wondering, who is steering this ship? Why are we so happy to be sitting in this pot of limiting beliefs, limiting mindsets, of anger, of there's nothing that exalts or builds anybody up in some of these groups. Yeah, so we should always remember that when you join a network, it should make you a better person. It should make your craft better. It should make you want to do much more than what you're doing. And the reason why you are in that network, you shouldn't lose sight of it, right? And if we then allow ourselves to be derailed, either by being in the network or by by starting a network, then that's a real shame, because as teachers, we're nation builders, and we really shouldn't lose sight of that. I mean, just talking about yesterday and some of the work that we've been doing for the past 2 days, it was so easy for us. So, for example, one of the things I said to them is, you need to form a network, because there are things that you're going to find in your schools that you've never found before. And some of our schools don't have counselors. So when you're talking about psychosocial support, how are you going to give psychosocial support when you have never experienced this sort of thing before? You need a network to help you with some of those, to overcome some of those challenges you will see. So yeah, so that's my take when we talk about teachers networks.
I love it. Thank
Fantastic.
you, Jacob.
Yes. So,
Rhoda is a subject matter today. Interesting,
So
interesting, interesting. All right, safety check. I know that safety check is part of a network, but I'm going to ask her to almost like use our experience to respond to the question, but this time around with a little bit of a twist. And so, what really should people do when trying to identify um, building a network, or better still, how do we solve the concerns of headship in a network? Because a lot of times people look at places where they don't feel, if they feel they won't be the positional head of some sort, they just try to. A lot of people don't have the appetite to be under the leadership of anyone else.
hmm. Okay, so this is what I'm going to say. A network can make or mar you. So it's very
Hmm.
important that before you join any network, you know what it is you want out of life and what it is you're trying to get out of it. Otherwise, you get there and get frustrated, get involved in all sorts of things you're not supposed to be involved in, and then it just leads to so much negativity that you are not even expecting. And then I would also like to say that when people join networks, your plan for joining the network, if it is clear from the beginning, it keeps you in check. So now, as to people not wanting to go to just be members and just wanting to go there and be the head, what usually happens to those kinds of persons is it's going to cause a lot of friction, and some bad blood would get in, because the truth is, people understand these things. People can feel when you are showing up just because you want something out of it, as opposed to you just came in and you were just being a nice and normal person, and then eventually the leadership position is actually being offered to you and it gravitates towards you because of your own excellence, not because you were scheming and all that sort of stuff. So people can tell when someone joins an association and you are coming in with that energy, and what that does is they would either tend to avoid you or look for ways to make you put yourself in trouble, basically, so that they would have a point to say, oh, no, you can't lead us because you did so and so and so. And so it's very important that at this point in our lives, where we are understanding that we need networks to thrive and for collaboration and partnerships and platforms, that we are clear from the beginning. Why are we going in there? We should be coming in from a place of we want to add value, and we also want to receive value. It's not a bad thing to go into a network because you want to learn. I've benefited from lots of networks just because of the platform that they gave to me. But you see, going in there with the mind to just, be that nice person, be that helpful person, ends up turning things around and making people look towards you for leadership. Do you see? So I think that the first thing when you're joining a network is not wanting to go there and be the leader. You should be wanting to go there and give value. Just be a valuable person for starters. And when that is what you are going in for, other things would come eventually without you necessarily scheming for it.
Mr. Rotimi, we can't hear you.
Rotimi, you're on mute.
How did you know I was giving away my password from my ATM? All right, thank you very much. I'm going to ask Jude. Jude, would you want to say something on that as well?
Yeah. I think for a network, people come there for different reasons, as we've attested to. Some come to a network to give, some come to a network to take. So we should not misunderstand that concept. And for whatever reason, and sometimes you don't question it. You don't question it because some people don't. Not that they don't have what to give, but they don't believe in what they want to give till maybe somebody find it out for them. So a network is a very powerful way for people to actually build themselves holistically, especially when you are in an industry. When you are in an industry like education, any kind of industry anyway, you need a network to actually build your reputation, your repertoire in that network. And you need to actually, if you have what they call it, if I'm not using it in a negative light anyway, but those who have agendas, it's easier to push it with a network. So as far you have a network that can buy your agenda, definitely you want to push it. So an agenda can be positive, it can be negative. So if you are trying to help people in mass or as a group, a network is where you start from. I believe you can start, though you can start individually, but you do more work trying to build that kind of drive, and at the end you still find that you are actually forming a network. That's it, because we thrive when we are together or work together. So people who are also trying to push negative agendas, they can, if they can find a network that can uh, they can sell it to, definitely it's going to fly. So a network is good. It has its good side and its bad side. It's neither, like they will say, it's neither good or bad. It's just indifferent. So it's what you do with your network that actually matters a lot. So for networks like Teachers Network, you have network for teachers network for different purposes. Some for tech savviness, some for professional classroom management, for some so you have different networks. So a network might not cater to everything, and it must not cater to everything in that profession. It
Everything.
must focus on a specific thing, especially the strength of the founder, and that's how you build your connections with the rest of your team members.
Fantastic. Titi, what about Titi? Titi, what do you have to say, Titi?
Hello. Yeah, I think the first thing I'll say is that if you are a person, in a career, in a business, or anything, and you're not a part of a network, then you're really missing out. Um, one of the things that, it's a very important currency more than money is network. Your network does a lot for you. And I think that's a lot of what people have said. Your network helps you meet people with like minds, meet people with like challenges, meet people that have gone before you and can advise. When we were at the training for the Lagos State teachers, that's one of the things I told them, because people were at different stages. Some people, like Safety Chick said, had everything, and then some people did not, and then some people did not, but they had found ways around it. It's when you're in a network, it's when we discuss that we now find solutions. So some people were sharing how, even though they didn't have the funding, what they had done to overcome the challenges. And that's what you can learn. So what I advised them was that let's exchange numbers. Everybody, if you can form a WhatsApp group, even something as simple as that was creating a network. So mine is that if you're a teacher, no matter what career, even if you're a business person, and you're not in a network, then you're leaving what I call money on the table. It is a very important currency. Because sometimes when you need the resources, you just reach out to your network. Oh, I'm looking for this. I'm looking for a new job. I'm looking for this. It's reaching out to your network. When people also need something, more often than not, they first of all reach out to their network before they now go to outsiders. So imagine that if I need something now, oh, I need something, I'll reach out to Rhoda. Oh, I need something on safety. Someone says, oh, they're looking for something, someone that will help them something on safety. I will immediately reach out to Safety because they are now in my network. So if you're not in a network, I think you're really missing out. The other thing I would say about network is, in any relationship, don't be only a taker. I think, the Bible says it's more blessed to give than to receive. See what value you can always bring. Don't be one of those people that are in WhatsApp group. We never hear their voice. We never contribute. I want to because all those things are network. Let's not always look at networks as very formalized. All those things are networks. And I preach is when you go into business, you appreciate the value of those people that always sending you messages. When you have your own message to send, it's your network. Yeah, WhatsApp group, you don't contribute, you don't acknowledge. You're leaving what will call money on the table, because that's also a network. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows what you do. Nobody knows your opinion. Nobody, from the things you share, nobody knows the value, your thought process. They can see that, man, this girl, this woman, this man makes sense. As far as I'm concerned, you're leaving, money on the table. So when I look at networks, I would say, networks they're already around us. It's how you're using it. And then when you join some, you're intentional. So if they're teacher networks, you ask yourself, what do you want to achieve? What's this thing bringing to the table? And then go and join a network. So my first thing, if you are not in a network, you are missing out. And go and be in intentional networks, knowing that don't always want to create your own. I find a lot of people, they want the gang credits. Have you found out whether there's an existing one out there that you can leverage on first before going to create one? So there's lots of teacher networks out there, both for school owners, both for teachers. Go and join one, and don't be a wallflower. Don't be those ones that they are in the group, but you're in the group, but nobody knows about you.
All right, fantastic. So, Titi, from what you've said, I think it will be safe to say that there has to be a way to make your network work. You must be able to
sorry
work.
to me. Let me just jump in. So this thing that Titi said is very true about people being wallflowers. But in my head, I feel that it is the responsibility of whoever the leaders are, because they're admins in that network, right? And so if people are in my network, it's my responsibility to make sure that that they feel confident enough. A network, one of the purposes of a network is to build. So if that network is not a network that is focused on building, then we should not build or recognize that there are people within that network that do not speak. So we should look at the network and say, who are the different groups in this network? How do we make sure that these different groups are relevant? There can be people who are maybe learners, people who are not so confident, people who need help. So can we look into the networks that we have, be it even on WhatsApp, be it wherever it is, and say, okay, who are the people here who have never spoken? Can somebody reach out to them? Because that's one of the purpose of a network. You're meant to build people. You're meant to actually make connections. Simply because I don't know how to leverage my network doesn't mean I shouldn't benefit from my network. Somebody should be able to teach me the ropes of how to leverage that network for my own good. And that's what I see is lacking in a lot of networks. There's always this ego thing. There's always this ownership mindset. It's my own. Everything has to revolve around me. And I don't think that's the way it's meant to be. Networks are relationships. I mean, we talked about relationships yesterday. It's about the relationship. And the sooner we pull up that relationship angle and actually look at how we can build each other in the network, then the less significant joining a network would become. Right? I mean, Titi and I, you and I, Rotimi, we're not in any WhatsApp group together. I don't even think I'm in a WhatsApp group with Rhoda or with Jude or anybody. But I know that if I need help, I can call on you. You guys make my network larger simply because I have you in my network. But if we want, let me stop. Rotimi has carried the bell.
Oh, it's on fire.
Rotimi has carried the bell.
Track two. Check, Mark. Check. Oh my God. But you know what? I want us to also bear in mind.
Rotimi, look at what happened yesterday and today. It was based on your network.
Exactly.
Exactly. It's a classic example of what we are talking about. Your network, you leverage your network to create something that was awesome.
Yeah.
So I just need to put that one there. Sorry. Go on.
When cousins back themselves up, I understand. Cousins are on fire. Okay, so well, so I think if you're a teacher out there, educator out there, education professional, I think it's time we are very deliberate and listen to so many things that Rhoda, Titi, Jude, Safety Chick, and KK has said. I think we need to understand that networks must work. So KK said that it must work from the administrative angle, whether founder or people who manage it, to ensure that the equilibrium is achieved. We don't have so much disparity, but it must also work that the people who are part of it must feel responsible enough to make it work. I don't think there's any perfect network out there.
No.
Sometimes the vision might be great, the management might not be great. The vision might be great, the administration or mobilization might not be great. But they know we are too, how do I put it, short-fused and fatigued of the process that a lot of times once you get into a particular place, somebody goes there and less than 48 hours, they say, what's happening here? And it doesn't even know whether there's a theme to the conversation, just feels, and then they go about spreading tales that, oh, this one is not there, this one. So it's almost as if we build conflicting networks, whereas we are to build complementary or enabling networks, right?
Enabling.
I want us to move away from the association, like Titi helped us to understand, even using the illustration of what we did
yesterday.
on the field. Let's look at it from just the reality. Move away from association platforms and say that, look, the teachers' network is also the teachers' economy. It's actually the teachers' economy. I remember, I'm sure Jude, I'm sure Rhoda and Ugochi will remember, I've said this before. I had a conversation, and I'm not going to mention names, but I had a conversation, we had a trip, and we were meeting with a particular government. And after we shared the blueprint of how to reposition the public education system in that state, a very perfect blueprint, and then they told us that fantastic work, great stuff, guys, but this thing will require you to do it across all the districts. And then when they said the number of people that will be involved, and then they asked us, so like, how many people do you have? And from our calculation, we'll be needing over 250 something trainers. We'll be needing about over 60 something consultants, as in for that project to work. And it's a 2-year kind of blueprint that was going to happen. Immediately they said that all the things that we've been talking about, spitting fire and all those things, it just came to a pause. Like, I started thinking, do I really know up to 60 consultants? I mean, consultants that can deliver at that level. Do I have up to 256 trainers who are not saying they're only free on Saturday and Sunday? I don't know whether you understand my point. Who would also be able to
Yeah.
not that it's a Lagos thing, it wasn't a Lagos thing. So when you think about it, we begin to see that the work ahead of us sometimes is not enough just to say things, but then we need to start growing the army or growing the soldiers, that when the opportunity even comes, that somebody says, okay, you guys, what you've been saying, let's have you in the room. What can you do about it? And then that's when the reality will strike. And then everybody sees that, you know what, we might be competent or we might not have capacity. And I'd like us to go around again to talk about the place of competence and capacity when we're talking about the teachers network. Rhoda, I would like you to say something about that.
All right. So thanks, Rotimi. I just hearing you talk about the opportunities that present when you are part of a network is it also brings to mind the enormous work ahead of us in also being very intentional about growing our network, because it's one thing you can have a network and still feel alone. And if you're not careful, and I think KK alluded to that in some way. And even as we build this network, we want to be very intentional about the competency and the capacity of the people in the network. Because again, using the example you shared, You can decide, you can have something, and then you're looking in your network to say, who are the people that I'm going to converge to help me deliver on this. Rotimi, I remember when you did the education storm, and did I get that correct? Was that the name?
Yeah.
And then you had to pull people, and you honestly needed a large number of people to go with you together, but you found competency and capacity. So in this idea of building competency and capacity, is something that networks needs to be very any kind of network needs to be very intentional, and the leader of that network, or the founder, or the convener, or host, whatever it's chosen to call, needs to be very intentional about building competence. And which is why the idea of network. So when I think about network, I think about file sharing, resource sharing, right? And that helps people build capacity. That also helps them to build competency. But at the same time, that helps people to be able to tell what they're capable of doing. So when people come in and they're trying to build themselves within that whole economic value chain of a network, they need to be empowered. So I think in this case, it's not even about just finding competency and capacity. It's more about the champions of the network building the competency and capacity for the people within the group. So I think in my head, what I'm mostly worried about is just as we are worried about the teacher cohort that we have in our classrooms, how competent are they, to deliver on learning outcomes for children. The same way it is for our networks, like how are we able to deliver on getting people up the ladder of competency and capacity. And I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but I guess I'm throwing out more worry there, especially on the leadership of any kind of network. So I think we just need to put ourselves in that circle or in that zone of, I often tell my friends and people who are close to me, I said, you have to get to a point where you overcome a reliance on motivation, right? But I say that because that's who I am. Nothing needs to motivate me to deliver, right? But I know that has been powerful for me as a person in building my competence and capacity. And like KK said, you can't find me locked down in somewhere where people are talking about things that will not move me forward. That will not be there. So overcoming the reliance on motivation is something that the champions of networks need to be very, very intentional about, because we need to build that competency. We need to build that capacity pool. So I'm not sure I answer your question, but this is where my direction of my thoughts are.
Fantastic. So let's just go straight to the comment section. I would love if KK can help us with the comments today.
Okay.
So KK.
Go ahead. Okay. So Oluwadamilola Hafiz says that he has missed a lot on this program. Don't worry, Oluwadamilola Hafiz. There's always something to gain, and you can always go back and watch it after we're done with this session. So you haven't missed a lot. Welcome to the show. Yeah. And we have. Oh, I'm saying good morning to everyone. Ugochi Okorie, good morning to you two guys. Let's say good morning to Ugochi Okorie.
Morning.
Yeah, Ifyok, it's good to see you. I'm really excited to have you here. We are all excited. Yeah, we're here. Every morning, Monday to Fridays. Hi, Favor. People of the show, can we say hello to Favor?
Hello.
Favor, welcome to
the
show.
Favor's our guy.
Lenin Craft was quoting something Judah Shedu said. He said, some come to a network to give, some come to a network to take, which is true. But regardless of what it is, get value, give value, take value, if that's what it is, what you are there for. Great. Thanks, Jude, for that comment. Absolutely. I totally agree with Jude on this one. The network is a powerful way to build your reputation, but that's when you are intentional about it, right? And that's what we're talking about in the show today. Intentionality, being intentional with all of the relationships. Hi, Perry Oduton Pretty Amina. Good morning. Thanks for calling us exceptional. Guys, we have a new tag. We're exceptional.
Yes,
so good morning to you too. Welcome to the show. Odutope Pretty says that she gives it to Madam Rhoda on this one, that she's superb at making people feel important. So Rhoda understands the importance of seeing, just beautiful. So Rhoda sees everybody in the network.
Well done.
Yeah, she does. Ifyok says that she's a product of networking, that she joins networks with two things in mind: to give and to take. Even if she joins initially with little to give, she constantly works towards growing and beginning to add value, which I think is really, really important. Find your feet and then begin to add value in that niche where you have decided to push yourself. So yeah, absolutely.
Remember, Ifyok is our ambassador all the way from the UAE.
That's
so,
true.
So
Our
she's
UAE
going to,
ambassador. It's good to have you, Ifyok. Mhm. Okay, can we get another comment? Hi, Temi
she's
Tope,
going
happy teacher. Happy teacher says that your network determines your net worth, which is so true.
to
That
also
she's glad
give
to be committed.
and probably give
Yeah.
us something from the UAE. Thank you.
Okay. I wasn't done with the comment on for Temi Tope, but yeah,
okay.
Ugochi, thanks. So she says that she's connected to all the amazing educators here, and she must make it her network, and this is timely for her. So I mean, it's timely for all of us really to be very intentional about what we do with our networks and actually recognize that we do have a network. Ugochi Okore says that the teacher's network is also the teacher's economy. Exactly. Just reiterating what Mr. Rotimi said earlier. So yeah, true. It is our economy. Absolutely, Temi Tope. The teacher's network is the teacher's economy. Building social capital is really, really important. Yeah, spelling bee, thanks. Ambassador Ifyok from the UAE says that she's blessed to know and connect with everybody on this platform, right? And that she can say that we have added and we're still adding great value to her. And I mean, Ifyok, you're honestly giving us a lot of value as well. Being here almost every time this show is live is something that we would not take for granted. And thank you for telling us know that you're better today than before you met us all. I mean, that's very enabling. That's a very enabling comment. Thank you so much, Ifyok. And I mean, that's a great one. So Ifyok again says that the topic is great for her with regards to building her network and adding value to networks she's currently in. Yeah, absolutely. So find something that you can do. Be known for something. Be known for something in that your network. Thanks, Oduto. She says that we're making plenty sense. Yeah, we have plenty good heads. We have plenty good heads on this show. So yeah, we are making plenty sense.
I want to add something.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I want to add something, about the power of network, just to encourage everyone out there that is listening to us on the Good Morning Education show. So I'm in a couple of networks, and I like everyone has said, you have to be intentional. And one of my regrets is that I didn't start early enough. I think that's one of my major regrets, that I didn't start leveraging on the power of networks. Anyway. So I joined this network, and in the network, they're always talking about opportunities, which is why you also have to be intentional with your network. So they talk about opportunities, and the next thing they said, Business Day was looking for people that will, write articles and contribute to their Business Day weekend. So I said, oh, you know what? I do like writing. I have a couple of articles I've written. They said we should submit some of the articles that we've written, to them. So that's how I submitted a few of the articles. The editor called back and said, oh, you know what? She loved my articles. Can I come and be a constant contributor to the business thing? And this was simply from a network. Mm-hmm. So the next thing, I was very excited when I saw that two of my articles got published last weekend in Business Day weekend. Yes, wow. Your sister is a columnist. I'm waiting in the
cousin. No cousin.
So what I'm saying is that's the beauty of networks. When people do need things, they first of all tend to reach out to their networks first. When people see opportunities, they share it on their networks.
Titi,
yes.
I like to also make us understand this, especially being privileged to work with some people directly and sometimes remotely. I've realized that sometimes a lot of people don't know how to receive when they are within a network. A lot of people don't know how to receive. Sometimes they feel guilty and undeserving. A lot of people feel it's a sabotage of some sort to make a request, which is directly like a derivative of being a part of a relationship. People need to understand how to give, or better still, how to receive. A lot of people feel exploited. A lot of people feel used. In fact, a lot of people shield themselves because of this mentality. And so I'd like to help share like two or three things that might help people go consciously to work on the things they've heard today from our audience and from our analysts. Number one, when it comes to the teacher's network, the teacher must decide deliberately to make a move towards other people first. You must deliberately make a move to people first. Don't wait for people to come to you. It's a lot of people build their social media profile and post so that people will come to them. It's not always like that. Sometimes you go to people. And so it's not saying, do you know? Sometimes it can be, have you not heard? So that's the first thing. Number two, we must make sure. I see a lot of people get contacts. They get contacts or phone numbers and all that, but they don't turn those contacts into relationships. So we must ensure that we turn contacts into relationships, right? Pretty much the people I've had the privilege to have contact with, I've deliberately ensured I made myself available or made sure I try to create relationship out of those contacts. And sometimes some people feel that no, let's just stop business. Sometimes business is actually the relationship, not the relationship is the business. I don't know whether I get my point. So you need to recognize that you must make a move towards other people first. The reason a lot of people will not make a move towards other people's first, number one, is they feel inferior, they feel undeserving, they lack communication skills, and they've not built themselves up to see what they can add as value or to fill the gap that's available. So because of time, I'm not going to say much after
For some
that,
other
but make
people, it
sure
is
that
pride.
Mr.
For some
Rotimi,
other people, it is pride.
Mr. Rotimi,
For some other
it's
people, it is pride
yes,
that makes them not want to receive things because they feel that they should only be the one giving. I'm
Giving.
telling you because I had to speak with someone about it very recently. And she said that normal her, she's the one that people should be coming to, so she doesn't feel comfortable. I said, see, life is in seasons. God puts us in seasons, and in that season, he's going to send people to help us. You shouldn't reject the help coming to you because you're not the one giving, because maybe it is your turn to receive now so that the next time you are the one giving. So if you have not received enough,
it's
how are you going to
nothing
give when
that
it is time
we
for you to
have
give?
that we were not given. Life itself was
Exactly.
a gift to us. Knowledge was
Exactly. So
a
some
gift to
people
us,
we come
you know.
from pride.
So it's not a proper assertion to
isn't it,
say.
Yeah.
Mr.
I
Rotimi,
Pride, ego. Yeah.
this is
True.
what I was trying to talk about yesterday, that most people lack social skills. So it's not it's beyond just how they behave. It's a lack of real inadequate social skills to interact in a network.
Hmm.
Because most times when we talk of social skills, we're thinking about it's something you do in a party or any other thing. It actually applies to your network. So your ability to navigate your way in your network socially, understand how your network is actually a very powerful social skill we should adopt or should be taught to our younger ones too.
Can I
I
say
really,
something?
really,
Can
yeah.
I quickly say something? So I know we've talked about being sharing and giving and taking value. I know we talked about competency and building competency and capacity within networks. And of course, we've talked about how the leadership of networks should be intentional about helping to ensure that everybody feels valuable and their commitment to the network is honored and things like that. But I think we also need to talk about the toxicity that can happen within networks. And
Yes.
to
Eyes.
summarize, say
Very
and
true.
KK mentioned this. Now, so because there are certain dangers in it, right? Now, a network can make that, like Seti said, it can make or maim you, right? And we need to ensure that we let people know that you when a network is actually becoming an addiction for you, where you are not able to get yourself to do better, all you're doing is hearing negativity and talking down and things like that, you need to get out of that network because they are bad networks. When your network is actually making you to waste your time and you don't have productivity, there's a problem. When you what you go to the network is to do something I call identity theft. It's a problem because you get there, you see what people are doing, and then what you do, you just immediately want to copy. Look, I saw a person copy verbatim. There's nothing wrong with copying. The whole world is copying, right? All brands trying to understand what the other brand is doing and trying to make a measure of their own. But you see, when you go there and you want to steal another person's identity and kind of paint a picture of that, that can be a problem. It's not that it can be a problem in itself because that's your own journey. You know, you found something that someone is doing and you feel connected to it and you want to do the same thing. That's fine because the sky is big and blue and for everyone. That's great. I don't have a problem with that. But I have a problem with you getting into that network and within that same network, threatening the identities of other people. You don't want to do that. There are certain behaviors that are expected of people within a network. So you need to be careful about those kinds of things. When networks also turn to cyberbullying, it's a problem. So we need to, when your people are bullying themselves,
cyberbullying, I know
that. Stay away from that network.
I think you just saw the future, Rhoda, because we're going to spend time next week. We're going to spend time next week talking about the fragments of this. We're going to be talking about the copycat culture. We're going to talk about that. And I've been a victim of this. No, plagiarism are the items you attach to it. We are going to bring it whole out. You know, we're going to talk about that. You know, those the brand wars, the people who are victim of positioning and all those things. We're going to talk about that. I think a lot of people deliberately look for things off the shelf, you know, to just take out and, you know, make sure that they just rip off people. You know, some people in the name of volunteering or in the name of partnering just want to figure out the template. I've had someone come to me where very popular person, and we had a conversation, and the person said, you know what, I went for a particular course or a program so that I know how they do it. Now the person now is replicating, and this person was saying it with boldness, and I was like, you know what, I can't work with you if this is what you are bold enough to tell me that you did. Only God knows what you do.
That's a shame. With mine.
And that's a strong brand influential person. So I just felt that, and a lot of people don't see it as bad because we are so much in this rush of trying to be the top 10 popular person that's doing this and doing that. Well, that's all we might be able to take for today. I hope.
Wait, Timmy, before you go, wait. Can I just say something? Sorry, don't go yet. So I think one of the problems that we have. So wait, sorry guys. I know my bell has been ringing off the hook in my house, and I'm like, oh my God, this bell, and it's so loud. So one thing that I found out, right, is one of the reasons why people copy, right, is because people don't quite understand who they are. So let me use myself as an example. Rotimi, I have so many skills, guys. As in sometimes I'm wondering for myself that, Kiki, are you sure you are normal? But I am, right? But something that I've come to realize is that I can work where the teachers are. I can work in technology. I can work in leadership. I can work in business. I can work everywhere, right? So sometimes it's just ridiculous. And there are times, to be honest with you, where I see certain people like that. And so they're in a network and they're not quite sure how to position themselves. They're not quite sure what they need to leverage, what they need to use. So, I mean, it was in recent years that I just realized that, you know what, my skill as a school administrator is something that has been with me all my years. Even when I wasn't working in a school, I've always been in process and systems. So something I just looked at myself and said, you know what, I'm going to position myself in this space. But what I found is that when people don't understand that they can have a niche, that they can tie to themselves. Even, for example, for Rhoda is teaching, right? But she's curriculum and inclusion. So every time I think about curriculum and inclusion, I'm not daft. I think Rhoda. Right? So those are things that we need to begin to look at ourselves when we are in a network. Look within your network and ask yourself, you know what? How can I position myself? How can I carve a niche for myself in this place? That way you begin to build competency in that particular thing. Your thoughts, your words. So even when I'm talking about teaching right now, I'm talking about teaching from the point of view of administration. You know, so all of those things just kind of round out and give me content buckets. But when you don't understand your niche and how you can position yourself in that place, then you're going to find yourself being a victim of copying. And it doesn't mean that you don't have, greatness on the inside of you. You just haven't seen that there's greatness on the inside, or you don't know how to use your greatness. So you're waiting for somebody to show you what to do. That's it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you
Should
so
I
much.
continue?
Don't continue. Thank you. Okay, we had a great time today, and thank you to all who joined. Abigail, Solomon, Oluwadam, Lola Hafiz, creative educator, that's Gochi from Potako, Babatunde Ogushugba, Odunto Priti Amina, Temitope Oguni, Ifiok all the way from UAE. So many people, great people, and those who decided not to say anything in the stream, but are watching, I will watch later. I want to thank you for joining. That networking in itself. And one of the ways you can also act on what we said is make a move towards others first. Look for Jude on social media. Instagram is there, Facebook is there, LinkedIn is there, YouTube is there, and connect with you and connect with Jude. Look for KK, look for Titi Adeosi, look for Niger Kate, look for Safety Chick, look for Lomka, look for Rhoda Odigbo, look for Rotimi Itai, look for Ebenezer Odetola Israel, look for all the guests that we've had on the show, Lola Neke, Ronke Posh, so many people. Look for them, connect with them. That's the way you make this practical. And when you do that, don't just stop at connecting and getting contacts. Turn these contacts into relationships. Now, for example, I have an EBA appointment with KK to eat EBA in her house. I'm just waiting for the day. I know that Titi is a biscuit supplier for me. Jude, great, fantastic guy, Safety Chick, and the likes and the likes. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great time. It's been a great honor to serve you and
Thank
to
you
work
so
with you. You said what?
KK, thank you for ending the show like the way you did. It was fantastic.
All right.
Thanks, Rhoda.
And Rhoda, it's always great to hear your voice. It's always great to hear that voice just makes everybody just feel like heaven on earth, So thank you. Thank you. And have a great day. Make sure
Thanks,
those of you that went to the trenches on the field, make sure you rest because there's more work coming. I'm telling you, there's more work coming. So take care. Bye.